Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Unnamed Memory, episode 10, in which... I don't fucking know. No, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea what's actually going to happen in today's episode, because we have nothing to, continue from, do we? Right? The previous episode set up a couple of things and then promptly just resolved all of them. So I don't really know what's gonna happen today. There's no tension, nothing. We're just gonna witness another new standalone movie, essentially, especially with the status quo basically being back to square one. Not entirely, I guess. Oscar's and Tinasha's relationship kind of progressed, so... that's a thing that happened. But yeah, what happened in the previous episode in more detail? Well, what did happen actually? Right. Tinasha, first, some people were discussing Tinasha becoming a queen of the country, and there was one dude, I can't remember his name, but there was that one, bespectacled bureaucrat who was very much against that idea, and Tinasha overheard it. And she's been toying with the idea of just disappearing from Oscar's life. Wiping his memory, wiping everybody's memory, and just disappearing, and oh, that's gone before the better. And as she arrived at Oscar's place, Oscar's room, she gave him a gift and then was trying to manipulate his memory, but he figured out that she was trying to do something. That entire thing got stretched out a little bit, and then an attack out of nowhere. A bunch of monsters have attacked the palace, and of course Tinasha and Oscar and Tinasha's BFF, apparently, she has one of the mages at the palace as her, confidant. So that's a thing that also happened. So all of them had to go there to fight the monsters. And Oscar got poisoned by Leonora's servant. We have no fucking clue who even is Leonora at this point. Apparently not even in the source material have we been introduced to Leonora. She's a character, yeah, that's gonna appear later, but we've no fucking clue who she is. And apparently in the source material it wasn't even Leonora's servant who poisoned Oscar. It was a disgruntled sex worker that he had to have sex with for plot reasons. What the fuck? Apparently it's a very good thing that they skipped the entire arc, so hey, I guess them skipping source material can be good every now and then. But yeah, Oscar got poisoned with an incurable deadly poison that has no cure and is deadly and you die when you get it. And of course Tinasha figured out an antidote, because why wouldn't she? The antidote was that Tinasha takes the same poison and she creates antibodies inside of her body, which, by the way, is not a thing that happens. Antibodies work against germs and bacteria, viruses. Yeah, sure, not against poisons or any other sort of toxins. They're metabolized, and you might have enzymes that metabolize the poison faster. You might have more of those enzymes, sure, yeah, but not antibodies. But again, it might just be, magical poison, magical antibodies, whatever. I'm willing to just hand wave it. Just, bears mention that you can't, create a vaccine for cyanide, just, for future reference. And she got it, and she made the antibodies, because next thing we see is Oscar waking up, and he has no memory of Tinasha. Wow. That's going to be the plot line here, right? That's going to be the grand finale. The last few episodes is going to be Oscar slowly regaining his memory with like glimpses here and there, and he's going to have the feeling that something's amiss, and eventually he will regain that memory and he will set off on an adventure to search for Tinasha again, right? Stuff like that. No. Fucking no. He regains his memory pretty much instantaneously, goes to Tinasha's room. Tinasha is being tended to by Lucrezia, and Tinasha is on the verge of death. Okay, cool. So Oscar is going to, you know, show his love for her by going on that dangerous expedition to get the crystal of mana crystallization that will give Tinasha enough magical power to be able to successfully fight off the poison or something like that. Nope. Immediately the next scene we see Tinasha being fine. Yeah, so the entire poison plot just gets completely thrown away. It doesn't fucking matter. Tinasha is fine, Oscar is fine. All right, sure. Next plot line. Next thing that happens. Tinasha calls all of her friends and I know acquaintances to ask them a very important question. Am I in love with Oscar? Of course, everybody notices that. I mean, girl, you've been sleeping in the same bed, you've been cuddling at night, you've been kissing on the lips. What the fuck do you mean, am I in love? Of course you are. So then she goes to Oscar, asks him, am I in love with you? And of course he, you know, he confirms. What's he supposed to say? No, you're not. Duh. And they kiss. Yeah, that's the episode. Cool. So I really have no idea what to expect from today's episode. My expectation, that's going too far. My first thought is that maybe they rushed through all of it to show us the, you know, the big resolution to their relationship, right? The big finale. They get married, they have children, stuff like that, right? So it makes me think that maybe now they will slow down a little bit. Maybe we're gonna see some preparations for the wedding, right? Stuff like that. Maybe the finale will be them having children, or right? Stuff like that, maybe. But I honestly don't know. It really wouldn't surprise me if today's episode just started with a wedding and ended with Oscar and Tinasha having 5 children. And then episode 11 is the adventures of their adult children. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if that was the case. I hope not. I really hope not, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised either. So how about we just see what exactly is the deal with today's episode, what exactly is gonna happen, instead of just merely speculating, right? Shall we? To do that, you will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support the channel. If you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not, share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. On Patreon, you get early access to some videos. And with that, we can start watching episode 10 of Unnamed Memory in 3, 2, 1, go! Okay. So they did the deed. Configurations? Are you software? What do you mean marriage? We only had sex. What do you mean marriage? I'm not ready to marry yet. Sure, I guess. What's it matter, though? I mean, he's the king. He can do whatever the fuck he well pleases. If he wants a witch for a wife, who the fuck's gonna stop him? Right? Other countries seem to be either weaker than Farsas or allied with Farsas and changing their, opinion and approach towards mages. So I don't think marrying a witch is that controversial of a move. Not anymore. And if it is, they are well within their... It is well within their power to change that state. So, like... Right? So what, is today's episode going to be the wedding ceremony? Or wedding ceremony and something else? Or is the wedding for the next episode after that? Should probably lower the camera ever so. Yeah, that's much better. That's gonna be a much better shot for the thumbnail. Apparently YouTube started giving other channels a thumbnail A/B testing. So if you see my thumbnails sometimes looking different, that means I got the feature and I'm playing around with it. Blank slate children. Sure, I mean, that's a fine custom. Why would he need bodyguards? Oh, right! She is a thing. Huh? Oh, I thought someone got, like, to the top, but no, they're just at the doorstep. Who are you, just random orphans? Also, isn't this place, like, in the middle of a fucking desert? At least a day on horseback? How did they make it here? What, like... I guess they're not afraid of the witch. Yeah, I mean, not for bullshit reasons, though. Yeah, that's also true. It's not adventuring that made him strong. It's being strong that made adventuring possible. So, just coincidentally, our Royal Guard Academy is recruiting. No, she's the fucking servant. What do you think? Okay, sure. That works. I guess they are the blank slate children. I mean, it's a pretty big thing to talk about. So... yeah, so... You're afraid of the child exploding if they inherit both of your magics? That's good, isn't it? She's going to be a witch, yeah, so? A wizard. Okay, so not just as a powerful weapon, but also as a little bit of a sealing thing. Right? That's a good question to ask. Why? Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's good to have power, it's good to have strength. If you can, well, then don't kill. Duh. Snap your fingers to heal a street urchin. Don't snap your fingers to blow their brains out. Right? It's simple, really. The fact that your magic being abused by a third party, not even being used by yourself, caused so much harm doesn't mean that anybody's magic will. How many innocent people have the mages living at the Farsa's palace killed? I'm willing to bet not many, if any, at all. It's how you use your power, not the power itself being bad. So is this the... Oh, I thought it's the marriage ceremony, but it's just their like yearly visit at the temple? Yeah. Okay, who is that cloaked figure? Okay. Who was the fucking cloaked figure, though? Another one of Leonora's henchmen? Probably. She has a surveillance spell. She has a ring camera on the moon. Don't you have a magic umbrella? You do. Oh, she's going to make snow so the kids can see it. Oh, that's cool. She would be a good mother, wouldn't she? Did you not have snow in Farsas? I can't recall how... Have we even seen, like, winter environments here? We've seen the seasons change, but I'm not sure about winter. Maybe we haven't seen it, actually. Just manhandling her 24/7. Sure. How does, what, 2 more episodes sound? So I'm assuming the wedding will be the grand finale of the season. Oh? That's fine. But what about the, like, magic that you have sealed in you Did you not ask about any of that? Oh, that's Leonora. Same. Yeah, okay. So she's a witch. Why? What game? What are you on about, women? Yeah. Sure. Seems like a good, safeguard as well. You're royalty now, dear. Royalty does not dress themselves. Yeah. Marry the man and stop being a fiancé. And go with him. He was assassinated once. Safe to assume someone's, wanting to make an attempt on his life. Nice dress, by the way. Oh, stereo. Who might you be? Demon. What's a demon doing here? Very... Oh, sure, okay, a demon is a duke. Why not? I guess he's masquerading as a human. Well... Oh, that's your fiancé to be? Mm-hmm. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh, full like Tuldar name. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see that as well, actually. No, she likes children quite a bit, actually. She's just scared that, oh, it's going to be powerful. Oh no. You're speaking as if you yourself were infertile? Is that the case? Yeah. I mean, there is a nature and there is nurture. If you raise your child to be a good person, the child is going to be a good person. Duh. Oh? Is she, though? Okay. Sure, a random demon. Why not? Get in the bath. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Of course, jealous. I mean, we have already established Oscar is not just a mere human. Okay, just full-blown Mao. Did you mention that? Exactly what it sounds like, my dude. Assassins? Oh, it's the demons again. I guess sent by Leonora. She likes using gargoyles, apparently. Possessive, aren't we? Oh, Leonora's showing herself, or... Huh? Whomst? Another Leonora's servant? And who are you lot? The fuck are you doing here? Yeah. Transfigure some clothes. Do you? Yeah, do you? Okay, she does. No, it's not. Yeah. And what does Oscar have to do with it? Oh, I guess she... Okay, so she wants to kill people closest to Tinasha and Travis to cause them grief, basically. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Which is why she's using proxies. Officially, none of that was done by Leonora. Oh, so she's even older. They're strong. And yeah, they're, you know, have long lifespans. Yeah, I mean, seems like a safe thing to do. Sure, take Oscar with you. Probably, yeah, safe to assume. What princess that went missing? Which princess went missing? Okay. I guess we have like one more arc in this show, in this season. Good, actually, you know, actually good. I might be ribbing this show every now and then, especially in this episode, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I did enjoy this episode, actually. It, you know, of course, suffered the exact same issues that this show as a whole is suffering. That hasn't changed. But all in all, actually good. I actually had fun. Made more sense than the previous one, that's for sure. We actually have some story here, right? Something that can continue into future episodes, right? That's good. That is good. And the next episode is Castle of Sand. Okay, I guess there is a Castle of Amber and there's a Castle of Sand as well. Alright, let's watch it again, shall we? Why did my camera do that? I don't know. It better not do it again. Yes, we shall. Okay, so this is telling us that she lost her virginity, and now magic is a little bit harder for her to use, but she still can use her magic, and she's still plenty powerful. That's good. Simply uses more mana when using specifically spirit magic. Privileges of the Farsas royal family, yeah. I don't know about marriage. She's going to have to be convinced into abso-fucking-lutely everything, isn't she? Right? Like, she has such a bad self-esteem when it comes to her nature as a witch, when it comes to her power, when it comes to herself, that she will have to be just fucking goaded into having a child, right? I can fully see that. I can fully envision. I know Oscar talking with Lazar or maybe with his father or whatever, talking about how, oh, you know, Tinasha and I have been trying for a child for a year, but nothing came of it. And I'm healthy, so what's wrong? And then it turns out, oh, no, actually, I don't want a child, so I've been stopping conception all this time, right? Like, I can easily see that happening. She's going to need convincing for absolutely everything. On one hand, that's cool. It makes sense, right? Like, people in general don't get over their traumas easily. Someone who was traumatized by, I don't know, during a car crash that they were a driver in, they're not going to drive a car anytime soon. It's not going away easily. And when they get behind the wheel, they're going to be driving very slowly, very carefully. You're not going to convince them to run the red light for a long, long time, right? So it makes sense from like a perspective of being a fucking human being. If something traumatized you, you're not going to readily jump into your old traumas. Makes sense. On the other hand, as far as the story and storytelling here is concerned, it can be grating a little bit, I guess you could say. And also, I noticed that I'm not sure if Tinasha actually... how do I say it? If she actually heals from those traumas and that's what allows her to progress, that's what allows her to grow, or is she simply giving in to Oscar? Because those are two very different things, right? Like, she gave in and admitted that she loves him and had sex with him, but does it mean that she worked through all of the shit that Lanak ran her through the ringer, right? Did she actually work through all of that stuff? Or is it simply Oscar was saying, please, 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 and she simply gave in, right? Which is it? I know. So on one hand, it is a realistic portrayal of what's going of how people get traumatized and how they work through their traumas, and that they're not immediately ready to go back to their old ways, so to speak. On the other, it's not a portrayal of healing, right? Like, this anime doesn't seem to be, at least even in part, about like Tinasha healing her old wounds thanks to Oscar's support, thanks to the support of her friends, right? For the first time ever, she has friends, and that allows her to heal. She has a supportive partner, right? It doesn't seem to me like this is this kind of a show. Like, I know the best example I can get is Crybaby Neighbor by Zugoya, which is amazing, and I highly recommend everybody reads it. Not only because of the art style and Big Booba, but also for, actual character progression and healing after going through a lot of trauma like that. So it's not like that. And I guess I'm just having mixed feelings about it. I don't even know where I was going with it fully. But yeah, let's continue. New Year festival in the Eastern Temple, going on horseback to present myself to the public. Yep. Visitors are 5 boys, all under 10 years old. Where is this tower, actually? I was under the impression that this tower is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. In the middle of the desert, you need to go there like 2 days on horseback because Tinasha wanted to cut herself off and, only respond to those who are willing to go through the whole ordeal. But 5 boys under age of 10 made it here, so it can't be further than half a day on foot. And it can't be in a particularly dangerous area either. Like, this should be visible from the Farsas castle windows. And that was not the impression that I had. So either the tower is much closer than it actually is, or the boys went on a week-long journey to get here, in which case, where the fuck are their parents? Are they orphans? Are they street urchins? They look kinda too well-dressed to be orphans, as usually portrayed by media. So I'm not sure. Or, I don't know, they got magically teleported by Leonora as a part of her scheme. I've no fucking clue. I genuinely have no idea what they're doing here. How do they get here? Saya said that up in the north it rains ice instead of water. Hail, no snow. So did she herself not experience snow even? Where exactly is Farsas? again, I was under the impression that Farsas is in a what's this, like, climate zone called temperate. Yeah, that it's in the temperate zone. They have all 4 seasons. They have winter with snow, they have summer with heat, and everything in between, right? I guess that's just a generic fantasy setting that came to my mind. But apparently Farsas is much further, well, much closer to the equator than I thought it would be. Which I guess makes sense why there's a fucking badlands scorched desert nearby, and that one of the border cities in Farsas is a scorched desert as well. Although that one I really thought is magical in nature because it used to be more lush, so I'm still not sure. So either Farsas is like Mediterranean area, I don't know, Spain, those sort of regions, or there's some magical tomb factory going on. Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me either. What if we run into demonic spirits or bandits? Yeah, odd that they didn't, honestly. What is the purpose of those children, actually? I guess their purpose is to show that Tinasha doesn't have, like, you know, disdain for kids, right? It's not like she hates kids, right? There's this fucking little snotty goblins now. I don't want to change diapers, ew, right? But rather she actually likes children, has a good connection with children, is somewhat motherly, right? Has good approach towards them. She just doesn't want to have children because power bad. I guess maybe that's the reason of those children's existence. I'm gonna say though, I expected something more from them. It wouldn't surprise me if this actually shows up later, or if it gets just glossed over, then it is a thing in the source material. Then again, I'm not sure about the nature of those children. If they were orphans, I can see this sparking maybe Tinasha as a queen, establishing a orphanage at the Farsas castle. Something like that, orphanage with a school where the street urchins can go. They get food, they get a roof over their head, they get clothing, they get education, right? That's what I would expect is the, like, you know, natural progression here. If she took a liking to a bunch of street urchins, then she's going to make life easier for them somehow. But I'm not sure if those kids actually are orphans, street urchins, or not. I don't know. Yeah, now she has a big range surveillance spell. You have magical power, right. You possess a great deal of magic. What's the deal with that magic, though? I mean, I know that it's Acacia sealing it away, but he doesn't, like, sleep with Acacia, so does the power just not manifest? As she says, it's probably been sealed with a powerful spell, probably by his mother or someone else close. But why? Were they afraid somehow of Oscar becoming a wizard? Actually, Farsas seems to be treating mages really well. I wonder if it started with Oscar's birth, right? Oscar's father and maybe mother, although that's debatable, were non-magical. Or maybe mother was magical but was hiding it. And they gave birth to a magical boy. And shit, our country is prejudiced against magic. Our boy will not have a good life here. What do? Well, the first thing we gotta do is seal that magic away, so that he doesn't set his diapers on fire and doesn't reveal himself as a magical boy. Then we change the country, we push the country in the direction where we get rid of the persecution of mages, where we make it a better country for mages, so that our boy can eventually live here in his true natural form. And should he ever have children, then those children will probably be magical, because he is magical, so they should live without persecution as well. I wonder if that's actually why Pharsas in particular is so so well suited for mages. Oscar was born magical king and queen sealed it as a stopgap measure, then changed the country to be friendlier to magical people. Makes sense, actually. Makes a surprising amount of sense. If I gave birth to your child, there's no doubt there'll be a powerful mage. Yeah, and why is that a problem? If it's a girl, then there's a good chance that right from birth she would be a witch. And again, why is that a problem? I mean, I know that in Tinasha's eyes, being a witch is a problem, because she equates being a witch with being a natural disaster, essentially. She blames herself still for the destruction of her country, for killing of so many people. And she blames that specifically on herself being a witch. If I didn't have the power, none of that would have happened. Thing is, if Lanak did not do what he did, none of that would have happened either. So she's blaming the wrong thing here. And she's kind of, I guess, imprinting that blame onto an entire concept of magic. And in her eyes, well, of course, that if we have a magical child, they will just destroy Pharsas one day. Of course that's what's gonna happen. I was a child of royalty in a country, and I destroyed that country. So, of course, every daughter of mine will do the exact same thing. Right? It's unsubstantiated, what she believes, but, you know, it works in her mind. It's the old traumas speaking, essentially. As long as he wields Acacia, he can't cast spells. Well, give Acacia to a daughter if you have her. I see no problem. If you're so afraid of your daughter being a witch, give her Acacia. Train her in sword combat. My father knew I had magic power. Probably. I mean, he's your father, after all. Your mother or someone close to her who's sealed. I actually wonder if Oscar's mother and the Witch of Silence were sisters. Not a bad theory. Oscar's mother and Witch of Silence were sisters. Would also explain the grudge that the Witch of Silence seems to have, right? Like, oh, I loved this man, but you, my own sister, took him away from me. Well, they will be cursed with not being able to bear an heir, or, you know, something like that. Maybe. Do you think being born with such strong magic is a bad thing? No, it isn't. I mean, again, Tinasha believes it is. But it isn't. Not in Pharsas. In other countries, sure, maybe. But even those countries are changing their stance, right? Like the young prince, king, whatever that we've seen during Tinasha's big fight, right? The one who had to raise his hand against a little child. He changed his stance, right? So even that country is going to be friendlier towards mages. We have a sovereign state for mages. The entire, geopolitical situation of the world is changing in favor of mages. So having a child who's a mage no longer carries the same stigma. But again, of course, Tinasha went through hundreds of years of something different, so it's going to be very hard to change her mind during like 2 weeks or however long. Don't reject the very notion of power. Yeah, your power has saved plenty of people. It's taken countless lives, yeah. Some innocent lives because it was exploited by a third party, and some not so innocent lives when you had to protect yourself and yours. So again, is it a bad thing that you were able to protect yourself and yours? Wouldn't you want your child to also be able to protect themselves and their family, right? We can teach our child about their power, about the value of lives little by little. Exactly. Upbringing matters as well. How you raise that child matters a lot. I really thought that we are witnessing a wedding. Tinasha's gown being very wedding-like, and the groom already waiting by the altar, right? But no, it's just the whatchamacallit, the like New Year's occurrence. Also, those obsidian obelisks, that's very Egyptian. Is Farsas like close to that sort of area? Like Egypt, maybe like the Roman Empire at its biggest, where it had the part of like Spain and Italy, so that Mediterranean area, those warm areas, a bit of Egypt and Africa, which would explain the deserts and the climate and the lack of snow, something like that, maybe. When I saw, Oscar noticing Tinasha, I expected him to make some sort of a move, maybe like announce publicly that go down to a knee and officially ask Tinasha for hand in marriage or something like that, or officially introduce her or call her, Tinasha, come here, this will be your future queen, or something like that I expected him to do, but apparently not. And this is, I'm assuming, one of Leonora's men. And got away. Tinasha's losing her edge. She allowed the attacker to get away like twice already. Here, once, and then later on when they were actually properly attacked. They got away, but not the children. Yeah. Sure, that they have the children with them, and Tinasha is showing her motherly side, right? Making it snow so that the children can experience it and can have some fun. Again, showing that she is actually good with children and she would actually be a good mother. Now they're actually, at least, rather, should I say, now they're at least like officially next to each other, like the royal couple that they are. Give me more time. How do 2 episodes sound? 1.5. Episode 11 is probably going to be dealing with Leonora. Episode 12 is going to be Tinasha saying yes, like halfway through, and the second half of episode 12 will be the wedding. Probably something like that. He got married for selfish reasons as well. Wouldn't surprise me if Oscar's father was actually married to a witch. Do I have it noted anywhere? I'm not sure. I don't think I do. So let's note it down. Oscar's mother was a witch. That's why he has so much magic power as well, right? He inherited that. I'm glad she gave birth to me. And we finally meet Leonora. First we met Leonora's servant, now we finally meet her. The woman, the legend. Once this little game's reached a good stopping point, let's kill her for some godforsaken reason. Gandona Founding Day celebration. Of course we're going. And yeah, you've already spun the entire story about you being his fiancée, so might as well stick with it. Oh, here she mentioned the demon extermination. Gotcha, okay. I completely missed it. And she's going to be somewhere, and she is. And she meets the demon that she was supposed to exterminate, but failed. Frieren would be disappointed with you. And you call yourself a mage. I've no clue what his deal is here. And how did he come to be a duke? He's supposedly a Mao, right? A demon king. Why is he settling for being a mere duke in a human country? Is it a matter of just being so old that he doesn't give a fuck about power or anything else? He just got curious. What would it be like being a royalty at a human country? I don't know. Let's try that. Let's give it a shot. How long is it gonna take me to get into their little, place to get a royal title? I don't know. 50 years, 60 years. That's gonna be a nice pastime, right? Trying to be a duke. Maybe something like that. Maybe he's actually trying to, merge with human society. I'm not sure. We know very little about demons in this world, do we? Actually, is it like the first time that demons in like humanoid high-ranking demons were mentioned? I'm not sure if the gargoyles and stuff that we've already seen count as demons or just demonic beasts. But I don't think we've met any other demons like himself. And he has someone that he wants to woo. Or is it maybe the case of him falling in love and discarding his demonic life so that he can get a woman that caught his attention? Maybe. Wouldn't surprise me, actually, if it was just a matter of whimsy. I like this human woman. She's royalty. How do I get her? Well, I could, kill everybody around and just rip her out of the palace, but she would probably be traumatized. I'd rather pretend to be royalty, get into, the place and woo her as a regular, normal human being and gain her trust. It would be, an interesting experience for a demon who's been alive for thousands of years now. Maybe something like that. Maybe just a matter of whimsy. Aurelia canal naisha floresia. Tinasha mayor ur eterna tuldar. Still using the tuldar moniker. And is it like widely known? I would think that this is something that would be a secret. That she's the Tuldar. The heiress of Tuldar. Maybe not. Maybe it was actually necessary for her engagement with Oscar to be arranged, right? Because only royalty can marry royalty. So we need to ensure that Tinasha is royalty. She needs a royal title. Just so happens she has one. It's a bit of an old one, but it will do. And the opportunity of using that title outweighs the potential cost of being associated with that country. Maybe. Fiancé to the king of Farsas, indeed. No, that's not it, indeed. What's her name again? Aurelia. I'm going to note it down. I don't know if it's actually going to be mentioned anytime in the future, but Aurelia is infertile. Because Tinasha's mention of not wanting children got a very strong response from her. A response strong enough to actually make me believe that, yeah, she is infertile and she's having trouble coping with the fact that she would love to have a child so much and she can't. And there are people who can have children but they don't want them. How can you, right? I would swap my places with you if I could, right? That's how it reads to me. I imagine bearing a child must come with both hardship and joy, yeah? Instead of choosing not to give birth to such fears, I believe your child would rather be born to share in both the good and the bad. Indeed, it's a matter of nurture just as much as it is a matter of nature. And it actually seems to be the case. Like for the longest time, there was the belief that was like spread widely that there are no like bad children, right? No child is born bad. They just get bad bad upbringing that makes them have, I don't know, psychopathic tendencies or whatever. Turns out that's not the case. Turns out that it is somehow actually nature. It's not common for a child to be genuinely a psychopath, but it happens. It legitimately happens. There are like stories out there, if you care to look, of 5-year-old children just trying to stab their siblings with a knife and punching their parents and biting and trying to kill them and shit like that. Shit's fucking horrifying, yo. Because you can't get an abortion this late. And, right? And there's nothing to do with a child like that. So, sure, nature plays a role here, but it's not often, and nurture also has a big impact on it. So, unless Oscar and Tinasha get really fucking unlucky, chances are that their child will just go in their footsteps and will genuinely be a good person. She was born with a strange power that she never asked for. What would that power be, I wonder? Something to do with fertility, I'm assuming. Something to do with childbearing. Maybe she's like a descendant of a succubus or something. I don't know. Princess of Yarda went missing before she reached the Gandona border. Yarda is that country that they were afraid is going to be at war? If I'm not mistaken, right? Something like that. And also, I'm surprised that Oscar heard of the Princess of Yarda going missing and he didn't just pick up Acacia and go like, Lazar, we are going! In the middle of a fucking party. I'm surprised it didn't happen. Some are even preparing for war. Sure. Those the times where people are always preparing for war. Yeah, a demon king. And another attack. Gargoyles in the middle of the night. Don't come out dressed like that. That's your biggest concern here. And also, Tinasha could probably spare a fraction of a second to transform her bedsheet into something more becoming. Ring, bind her. I was commanded by my master. Who's her master? No one. Sure. And then we have this dude. I'm assuming this is the cloaked figure that was observing them. And, yeah, no one at all. And they got away from Tinasha. somehow. I don't know, she's really losing her edge. I mean, how strong are those spies to run away from one of the strongest witches and a fucking demon king? Could they really not take care of a couple of fucking slippery weasels? Really? He dared try and kill Aurelia. This is an interesting effect on his eyes. Going dark, losing their shine, and then gaining this absolutely pitiful purple spark. I'm sorry, but this looks just funny instead of scary. I don't know why. It doesn't have the effect that red eyes usually have. It shows us something, though, that he genuinely cares about Aurelia. Maybe it is because he's genuinely in love with her. It could be that he claims her as his possession. Either way, he genuinely seems to care about her and her well-being. So it could very well be that it's a whimsy. He noticed that girl, he fell in love, and he decided, sure, why not? I'm going to throw away my demonic aspirations in life. I'm going to go chase her and get her. Maybe. She's safe, yep. Prime Minister of Gandona was killed along with other casualties. And we know that it's Leonora. She was cruelly treated by Travis in the past, which makes sense why she would have beef with Travis. Tinasha fought her once and said a lot of nasty things, so she has beef with Tinasha as well. Okay, sure, I guess it makes sense. And yeah, she very much likes meddling in humans' affairs. And we're going to go and kill her. The princess who went missing might know something. Why is that your assumption? And also, why are we contacting the forces opposing the prince? I'm not fully getting the politics here, I guess. The witch who cannot be summoned is making arrangements. The question is, will she target Farsas or Gandona afterwards? Yeah, that is a question. Why don't we contact the forces opposing the prince? Why? The princess who went missing might know something, so I guess we are going to look for her after all. We're not just jumping straight into killing Leonora. For some reason, despite Tinasha seemingly being capable to track her down and kill her, as she claims at least. I don't know where we're going with it. Castle of Sand. Well, that could have a double meaning. It could literally be a castle of sand, right? A castle made of sandstone in the middle of the desert. I can see that being the case entirely. Or it could be castle of sand, as in a castle that easily crumbles. It gets attacked by someone, it easily falls, and becomes a ruin. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. There we go. So, as I already said, good episode. I genuinely enjoyed it, honestly. Probably mostly because the things that were happening mattered in a way, and things that got started in this episode weren't resolved in this episode. That was the thing that that really sucked away my enjoyment from the previous one. The fact that at the end of the episode I was left with nothing, as if the episode basically did not happen. Not the case here. We have the case of the children still being open. We still don't know who they are. What are we going to do with them, right? None of that. They are still out there, seemingly worshipping Tinasha and Oscar in a way, right? So we're going to see them again. I fully believe that. We we have some political stuff going on in the background that also did not get a resolution. We have a missing princess who was not found. We finally reveal Leonora's plan, and it doesn't get thwarted yet. Right? All of that is a continuation. Tinasha and Oscar talking about marriage, about having children. That was not concluded either. It's still an ongoing thing, right? Good. That's how you write stories, especially when it comes to media that's separated in episodes like that. Be it a show like this, be it a TV show, be it a piece of fiction or fan fiction that's releasing one chapter a week or whatever, right? You want there to be ties between bits, between segments of story. Not only so that you can keep the attention of the viewer, reader, listener, whatever, right? Because that's why we have cliffhangers, to ensure that the viewers are going to tune in next week to see how that gets resolved. But also for pacing purposes. The breaks between episodes, the breaks between chapters, they really matter for pacing. They matter a lot. They actually make the illusion of time passing much better, right? If we were to see all of that, or rather, the previous episode, right? In the previous episode, a lot of things happened, and all of them were resolved within those 20 minutes. So the vibe we're getting, the illusion we're getting, is that all of that took place in just 20 minutes. Very short for such a large amount of things. If instead that episode was not even edited to prolong it, but rather cut in half, right? Episode 9 ends with half of that episode, and episode 10 begins with the other half. That alone would make it feel so much better, because we would have a week, whole entire week, to stew into Tinasha potentially being dead, right? Into in Oscar having lost his memory, right? Those things would stay with us, and we would get the illusion of that state lasting for a week. So it's very important here that it also gets split into those two episodes, or multiple even, because should the princess be found in the next episode, that would mean that it took a week to find her, in a way, right? Which is a reasonable time frame to find someone missing. If she was found at the end of this episode, that would be what? 5 minutes until she was found? Whatever. Why even include it? Why even have the plot of her being missing at that point? So making things not take the entire episode, not get resolved in the span of a single episode, really matters. Unless we're talking about fully seasonal monster of the week kinds of shows, but they usually either show the passage of time much more prominently, right? Like we see the characters going to sleep and waking up multiple times within the episode to show us that, yeah, a couple of days have passed. So that's, I guess, a different way that you can show the passage of time. This episode really worked for me. It still had plenty of, unnamed memory isms in it. Plenty of stuff was probably just completely missing, completely glossed over. I think, I have a reason to believe that the whole celebration at the temple, where they were in wearing all white, that it was actually entirely written out how it went, and maybe some additional stuff happened there. But you know, glossing over that, putting that aside, it was good. I enjoyed the inclusion of the kids. I enjoyed what they did to Tinasha's character, right? How they allowed the creators to portray Tinasha as this motherly, maybe not quite motherly, but a figure who can deal with children and doesn't, you know, shy away from them. I like that they are actually trying to progress Tinasha's and Oscar's relationship in a meaningful way. I like that we are slowly but surely heading towards that, you know, marriage and becoming the king and the queen of Farsas. That's kind of the end game I'm hoping for. I enjoyed this episode in general. It was good. Honestly, I enjoyed it for what it is. That being said, this episode also made me feel something else entirely. It really made me feel a bit of, how do I even describe it? Sadness, I guess, would be the best way to put it. That this story, this world got this sort of a treatment. That this show did not get 24 or honestly like 48 episodes. Because I've seen so many things that I was so interested in, and then I realized that none of that shit is going to be explained. None of that is going to be expanded upon because there's simply not enough time. We're not going to learn more about the bald dude. We're not going to learn about the redhead general. We're not going to learn more about Tinasha's friends. We're probably not going to learn more about those 5 children because there simply is no time. But at the same time, those are elements of world building, elements of the story that I really find appealing, that I would find appealing should they have existed. But they're not going to exist. And it's this sort of a longing, I guess, for a good adaptation of it. An adaptation that would actually show all the stuff that I want to see. So kind of an ambivalent finale, I guess, to today's episode. On one hand, I enjoyed it for what it is, and in comparison to other episodes of this show. On the other, this episode really showed me how much this story has to offer and how narrow of a, you know, pinprick view we have at it through the screen, through this adaptation. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I think I said my piece. This episode is already way too long, so how about we end it right here? And now you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that, in the comments down below. And no spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Unnamed Memory, but also Kaito Otome, Kaiju number 8, sorry, Spice and Wolf, Sentai Daishikaku, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when I go live and when new videos release, of course. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Yuki, Yuna, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly through YouTube, through memberships, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Net, Zarena, Yukiala, Ishtamu, Dr. Watakomas, Marsh Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to meet your demonic ex.